Could Gamora be the villain in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3? That's the headline on this week's MBE Heroes. And Stephen, it's a pretty self-explanatory headline really. Zoe Saldana has been out discussing Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, her excitement for this movie coming up, the potential direction the character of Gamora herself could be taking, and she has kind of sneaked in there that she'd like to see the character potentially breaking bad and going off and being the primary or one of the villains in the new Guardians of the Galaxy movie. First and foremost, was this something you'd like to see? Secondly, is this something you think James Gunn will perhaps be reading and is perking up his intrigue?
I don't think he cares. I don't think he cares what the actors think. Actors always want to push the boundaries of their own abilities, John, so I can see where the actress is coming from here. Taking it in that direction, but we've already been there, as you recall, from Volume 1, where she was this sort of assassin type, henchwoman. I don't think going back the way, I think it's like resetting the switch, to be honest with you. I think the development of that character from Volume 1 right through to Infinity War was perfect. I thought the actress was fantastic in the development of that character as well. One of my favourite characters actually from the Guardians, probably in the MCU as well.
It's a great journey she goes on.
Yeah, and a tragic journey as well. So I don't think it would make any sense. I really don't want to see them going back there either, because of the development with her relationship with Star-Lord as well, and particularly with her sister as well. Kind of hinted at the end of Endgame that she was more dazed and confused about what was happening and who this guy was, Star-Lord. And the relationship between her and her sister was as good as it was going to get at that point, I think. It's a bit confusing at times because we're getting a different version of her. We're getting the 2014 version of her at the end of this film. I don't really know much about this additional footage as well, John, that was for the re-release of Endgame, so I don't know if there was any, if it was touching on anything to do with the character and where she ends up. I'm not sure.
Well, Stephen, from what I read regarding the additional footage at the end of Endgame, that re-release the Russos put out, I think it was more tying into Mark Ruffalo's Hulk character. I think it was like a 15-second scene or something. That's what I read. Maybe I've misremembered it, but I think it was like semi-unfinished 15-second sort of a long scene. So I don't think they did hint at the direction of where Gamora has went. It's very intriguing to just perhaps follow this character first and foremost throughout the movie. Perhaps we'll have a shotgun off and showing you her doing something, and then the Guardians try to chase after her. That'd be a bit craps. It sounded good in my mind, but when I actually started saying that sounds terrible. But I would like to see it being more like the Force Awakens style sort of a plot, where she's away, she's getting up to something, she's in the hidden part of the galaxy or whatnot, and they are away trying to find clues and try and discover it. Like the search for Gamora more than her being a villain, because I feel like it would crap on top of all of the good work, as you did say, they'd accomplished.
I think the subheading as well says the actress is hoping the next Guardians film will let Gamora show off why she's the most lethal woman in the galaxy. I wouldn't mind her being some kind of bad attitude towards the character, and perhaps in the sense that the way they handled Hawkeye in Endgame, where it was a pretty nasty guy, but we knew the reasons for that. He was justified.
Well, he was Ronin then, though, wasn't he? A Ronin.
So I wouldn't mind seeing that in the sort of Gamora character, where we're getting to see her perhaps pursuing, doing missions or whatever, doing sort of bounties or whatever, and perhaps the Guardians are trying to bring her back to the way that they remember her.
It's
but
very
she's not the out-and-out villain of the film, if you know.
It certainly could be, Stephen, that we have a number of villains in there. I think that's something that's been done before. I think Yondu was floating around being a semi-villainous character looking for Star-Lord in the first Guardians, whilst also the main villain was, I think it was Ronin. And then in the second one it was just out and out, it was Kurt Russell's ego. So it's certainly something they can do. I think even then the gold chaps that had the spies, they were side sort of a villainous characters as well. I've actually got an article open here looking at potential villains. Gamora is not on the list, sadly. But it's certainly possible she could be a minor sort of a villainous character, and they have to try and turn her around and show her, look, this is what you are, this is how we remember you, this is what you can be, you're better than this, you've left those ways behind, this is what you can, as I just said, what you can be, and you can be a better more fulfilling character being with us, part of the Guardians again, with your sister and with Thor. So certainly it's something they could do, something I personally wouldn't like to see them doing though. I'd prefer her to be, as I did say, just off doing something perhaps for 90% of the movie, and then they discover her at the end. And there's another villain in the way, perhaps try to stop them finding Gamora, or perhaps just doing something completely unconnected and they'll just have to fight them, and then they bump into Gamora again, and then but that establishes that gang back together, and they go forth into the phase 4 of the MCU. I don't know, it's all very intriguing. Certainly they're saying here Adam Warlock is a potential sort of a character. I didn't really look at him as being a villain though. I thought he was a more heroic character. Maybe they could bring him in, I don't know. They're saying this Gold character again, I forget her name. I'd hate them to come back. They've done that. Don't want to see them again. Those strange little bald-headed chaps, they look intriguing. Something that looks as though it came straight out of Star Trek though. Don't know if I'd want to see that as well. It was very odd. But I can understand Zoe Saldana speaking about wanting to test the cat herself as an actress and wanting to take the character off in a different direction. Perhaps explore this most lethal woman in the galaxy sort of a thing. Now that Natasha Romanoff's dead, I don't think there's any competition there. She probably is the most lethal. So it's been intriguing perhaps seeing a side plot with her doing something and then the rest of the Guardians off doing something unconnected whilst simultaneously trying to find her. But all in all, I don't know. I've not got much more to add, Stephen. I don't know what James Gunn's thinking. Perhaps he's going to read this and think, yeah, I'll do that. Perhaps he'll just say, screw you, you're a good character. We're not using that subplot at all. But look, Stephen, I'm going to move on to the next topic because I am gibbering away nonsensically here. And this one's sort of a combination of a multitude of different panels because it's all about Comic-Con. It's the schedule's been announced, it's movie, it's TV, and it's a whole host of sort of a tribute sort of a panels that are popping up. And we're just going to go through some of the ones that pique your interest. Looking forward to Comic-Con coming up not long away now, and just perhaps discuss which ones we'll perhaps looking forward to, which ones we'll try and catch, and perhaps discuss in a future hero show. First and foremost, it's not really linked into heroes in a sense, but I suppose you could say that Star Wars has got a heroic figure, so we'll take it, and there's comic books involved with Star Wars. It's all about George Lucas, I believe. It's some tribute panel involving him and some museum I think he's creating. It's a tribute to filmmaking as a whole, going back to way back long ago, and just it's involving storyboarding and creative direction. Is this something that you are intrigued by?
Something looking at the great man's work? See, John, because away from all the Star Wars stuff, I would love to see some of the the storyboarding for his other films, Indiana Jones and stuff like that. Perhaps not Howard the Duck, but I think
I forgot about Howard the Duck.
That was always one of the things that I liked about the sort of extra stuff you got in the DVDs of the prequels. Was the behind the scenes stuff. You got to see all the props, you got to see all the models and stuff like that. So it'd be very intriguing to see that. I'd like to see some of the stuff from some of his earlier films as well, American Graffiti and THX as well. I think it'd be very interesting, from where he came from and what he became. It's a very interesting story.
Yeah, Stephen, there's a couple other ones. Another one that's popping out to me is Excelsior, remembering Stan Lee, obviously the late great, passed away. And this is just going to be a sort of a panel involving colleagues and friends of Lee, the legendary, as they do say, co-creator of Marvel Comics. It's going to feature the likes of Paul Levitz, former president and publisher of DC Comics, once again showing you the wide-reaching nature of the man. All of this crap about rivalry between DC and Marvel didn't exist with Stan. The guy had... he was much respected by just about everybody in the business.
I think he appreciated the DC stuff as well, he was involved in that as well. So
even Michael Uslan, I think it is, Batman movies executive producer. There's a lot of people involved in DC going to be involved. So that's certainly a panel I'll be very intrigued at, looking into this great man's life and just his legacy, how he impacted upon various different people in and around the comic business. That's very intriguing to me. A couple other ones, Masters of the Illustrated Film, but I think we'll skip past that one, Stephen, to be quite frank. We've got The Walking Dead. Fell away from The Walking Dead, I'm not going to discuss that either. There's just a whole host of panels here, but I think there is one, Stephen, that's celebrating Marvel animation in the 80th anniversary of the company. That is again something that intrigues me very much so, just the animated side. I grew up watching the cartoons, that's what got me into these great characters first and foremost, this and the DC ones. I know you have went on a binge over the last year, maybe even further back, watching DC's animated. So is this something that you'd be intrigued by watching this?
I think so, John. I think, to be fair, I think DC over the last few years have really been at the forefront of their animated films.
Yeah.
More so than Marvel. But if you're going back the 80 years, I grew up with watching the likes of The Amazing Spider-Man, Spider-Man and His Friends, Fantastic Four, all these animated TV shows that were on the Saturday mornings. So I'd be very intrigued to see that. The history, it's a long history as well.
Yeah.
You know, you're going back 80 years.
It's incredible, isn't it?
It'd be amazing to see that. I'd love to go and see the actual thing, you know, in person, but for whatever we can get, obviously online, you know, I'll definitely be watching that.
Yeah, Stephen, this one's not really, I don't know, there's perhaps something down this article, but also the big thing that people are really looking forward to, perhaps in Comic-Con, if it's going to happen there, I hope it does, is also the announcement of the new slate of movies involving Phase 4 of the MCU. Is this something you think that Marvel will do here, or do you think they will go off and wait until D23 to announce it, or do you
when's it normally done, John? Because
I'm not too sure. I think it was Comic-Con, the last batch, but then they've been slowly phasing it out and trying to go over to their own
own sort of
their
event,
which I think happens in August. So it's about a month later, D23.
I think it would be a good time to do it, I think it would. I think, you know, Spider-Man's out now, that's the end of that phase, so it would probably make sense for it to come out during Comic-Con,
And what do you hope, Stephen, just going off on a little tangent here, I'm going to start questioning you like a mad interrogator. What is your hopes for Phase 4? In terms of where do you hope they'll drop the movies? We know we're getting the Black Widow movie first and foremost. Do you hope that we will then see perhaps a Doctor Strange 2? Or do you think they're going to I think it's Shang-Chi, or Zhang-Chi, I can never say the name. Do you think they'll perhaps establish some of the minor players early on and then try and make these a new batch of heroes? Or do you hope to see more of the other gang, like the likes of Doctor Strange? Do you hope to see, well, we know we're getting Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 in the next 3 years or so,
Black
anyway,
Panther
4 years.
As well.
Black Panther 2. What do you think, and what are you hoping for in terms of releases?
I think what we're going to get, John, is that they're not going to leave it too late for the likes of Doctor Strange 2, Black Panther 2, Guardians 3. They do put out more than one film a year anyway, so it's not going to be a problem for Marvel to release 2 or 3 films per year anyway. So I think what we'll get is sequels plus introduction to new characters, like they did before. I mean, you know, the year that the likes of Ant-Man came out, you know, we had the established films as well. Same with Doctor Strange when that came out, with the established films, whether it be, you know, one of the original Avengers or if it was going to be one of the Avengers films. We always had some familiarity with those characters, as well as, you know, introducing us to the newer batch. So I think they're going to keep that formula. Yeah,
well, Stephen, they've got an hour and a half between 5:15 and 6:45 PM on the Saturday. Hall H, Marvel Studios, and it's going to feature Kevin Feige and surprise panellists. So I think it's pretty clear, an hour and a half, we'll be getting some major announcements, perhaps some footage from Black Widow as well, early sizzle reel footage.
Great,
and I think we will get the Phase 4 slate release. I've not got much more to add other than to say, what do you think of, in this topic anyway, other than to say, what do you think about DC completely giving this year's Comic-Con a miss? Do you think that's the correct decision? They've not really getting much happening this year, I don't
apart from the Warner Brother guys, you know, talking about the Stan Lee stuff. We're not really getting a lot, but that's because they don't have any big releases, John. It's not going to be till next year when we get Wonder Woman 84 and the Harley Quinn movie as well.
The fabulous emancipation of
Harley Quinn.
You
said that, John. I struggle with that. I think we're going to have to get an auto cue up for that by the time we're talking about that film for me. But no, I think it's probably wise. I mean, if they've got nothing to offer, then why be there? I don't think it's a case of they're snubbing it or anything like that. If they've nothing to offer, then why be there? You know?
Final thing I'll add. Final thing. Teen Titans Go versus Teen Titans. There's a world premiere happening on the Sunday, so I'll be intrigued by that. I actually was very surprised by Teen Titans Go to the movies.
Really
I think
good,
it was. That was a really entertaining, very funny little movie. So I'll be keeping an eye on that one as well, Stephen. But we will quickly and swiftly move on to the next topic, Stephen. This one's all about Christopher McQuarrie, obviously very much respected screenwriter, been involved in the likes of Mission Impossible Rogue Nation, Mission Impossible Fallout. I think he was involved in a whole host of other movies. Off the top of my head, I can't really mention them right now. He's worked in detail and in depth with Tom Cruise over the years. He was also involved in The Mummy, which was utterly shite. in that 2017 one. But we'll not speak about that. We'll talk about Valkyrie and the usual suspects and whatnot. But I digress. This guy, Stephen, has come out and says he had plans in place. He had a full script written for the Green Lantern, Green Lantern movie, and he pitched an idea to Warner Brothers and Warner Brothers and DC, if I can speak correctly, about a potential Superman movie which would tie in to a Green Lantern movie. Now, he's went in depth. We both know, Stephen, this guy knows what he's doing in terms of writing. Having watched Rogue Nation and Fallout, the way that those two movies interconnected, the way that he connected the villains and the Syndicate and changed them ever so slightly into this nefarious underlying sort of a villainous group. It was beautifully done. I thought the way he connected the two movies was stunning. I would have loved to have seen this be a thing, Stephen. It's a real shame that DC and Warner Brothers were too sort of caught up, I think, in the canon and not want to tread on fans of the comics toes too much. That doesn't work, this doesn't work, we can't do this. And as a result, we've also had this great idea fall by the wayside, and it's not going to happen now. He says that he doesn't think he'll be tackling a comic book movie again or very soon. So what did you make of this? He says it's too complicated to explain it. It tied into Superman that Cavill and I were proposing. No takers. This could have been a chance to have another great Man of Steel, Henry Cavill movie, and it could have tied into a much better than Green Lantern movie. Was this something you would have liked to see?
One of the things I always felt about Henry Cavill was very similar to Ben Affleck in his passion for the characters that they played, John. And it shows here in this article. Christopher McQuarrie's come out and said it, and I didn't really know too much about Henry Cavill's involvement in the character of Jor-El, Kal-El. It's an interesting question and answers article as well, which I always like. I like the format of that. But Christopher McQuarrie, his idea actually, I think, is a very sensible way of handling the character of the Green Lantern. Now, Green Lantern is a great character. If you've watched any of the animated films,
John, you tell me about it,
they are fantastic. Some of my favourites. Unfortunately, the Ryan Reynolds one, and it's nothing to do with Ryan Reynolds. He's went on to prove himself. He can handle the comic book genre. Was a poor film. It was just poorly written. It was poorly executed, and it left a bad taste in a lot of comic book fans' mouths. Christopher McQuarrie, aware of this, links it with the Man of Steel 2 film. I think it would have been the best way to handle it. It would have been a great way to introduce the character as well. Whether it be Tom Cruise or not, I think Tom Cruise would have actually
were they talking about Tom Cruise doing Green Lantern?
Yes, there was obviously word of it, John playing Hal Jordan. So I think it would have worked. I would have loved to have saw this, to be honest with you. But then again, I would have loved to have saw a Man of Steel 2 with Henry Cavill as well.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately not.
Yeah, sadly not. Stephen, as you did say, the guy had real passion for Superman as a character, portraying the character more and more, and they instead wanted to saddle him down with also a mere cameo in Shazam. That's what I think really caused the fractured relationship between him, DC and Warner Brothers. He subsequently decided, look, I'm going to step away. If you're not going to handle the character with the respect it deserves, put it into movies which is deserving of the name of Superman, then I'm not wanting anything to do with it. Not that Shazam isn't deserving of being linked with Superman, because as we both agree, I think that we both enjoyed that movie, thought it was pretty cool, liked the character. But tonally, I don't know if those two deserve to be together. Not at that point anyway, not until you establish Shazam and make him maybe a more serious figure. This was just an origin story, him discovering his powers, trying to come to terms with
and it was goofy
being in
as
an adult body. But look, I'd love to have seen this. I don't know much about the Green Lantern, I can't lie. I just recall that terrible movie. But I'd love to have seen these two characters somehow integrating via a two-film story arc, and it would have been very cool to see maybe some of the villains coming in. This just reminds me of Zack Snyder's overarching idea for a Justice League movie, perhaps bringing in greater villains and just interconnecting it through, I think, wormholes and whatnot. It was very, very cool, and it just shows you some of the storyboarding ideas and whatnot that fall by the wayside, that don't quite make the cut. Sometimes they are better than the actual movies that have been released. So it's just a shame, Stephen, but I've not got more to add. It's not happened. It's a shame. A lot of things, great ideas and stories and pitches, all have been given to studios over the years, and they don't happen for one reason or the other. But look, I'm going to move on to the final topic on this week's MBE Heroes, and it's all about Jeremy Renner, talking about what could have been, what didn't eventually happen. He revealed, Stephen, that he turned down a major role in Guillermo del Toro's Hellboy. Now, he doesn't state, I don't think, that it was for Hellboy himself, but he says that he was reading through the script and he's like, I don't get this, I just couldn't connect to it. He's then went on to say, "This is to Entertainment Weekly, incidentally, that I said I can't find a way into this character. I don't know what I'd be doing, so I had to say no. There's zero regrets, zero. Most of the time it's like, oh, I'm glad I didn't do it. And it made sense to me, not just Hellboy or whatever it was. I'm not saying that it's good or bad, but he just says it wouldn't have fit here." So that is quite refreshing, Stephen, to hear an actor saying, "I had to knock it back. It wasn't for me. It wouldn't have connected. It wouldn't have fitted. I wasn't the right guy for the role." I don't know if it was Hellboy. He was up for himself. I'm not too sure.
Well,
he said, there you go. I've actually got it. Stephen Guillermo del Toro clarified it was for the role of Agent Myers. So, what do you think? Is that something you would have liked?
Sometimes, John, I think things worked out well anyway for that film with the casting overall. Jeremy Renner is a fantastic actor. Away from obviously comic book films, if you've seen a few of his films, John, you certainly have. Yeah. Wind River, amazing film.
He was in Mission Impossible as well.
Yeah. So sometimes it works for actors, sometimes it doesn't. It's interesting to see Jeremy Renner being very candid and open here. Sometimes I think when they do read scripts, they can't connect with their character they're reading for, and some of them just begin with blind ignorance and just phone in their performances. But he's a man that's he's got a lot of integrity.
He has.
We saw that in this promotion of Endgame as well. He's openly admitted he's not in it for the fame or anything like that. And I think it's very refreshing. I think sometimes actors just don't connect with parts that they're linked with, and I think everything's worked out well for the actor and for that film as well. So I don't think it's...
And it was a brave decision too, Stephen, because at that point in time, I don't think he was the well-renowned sort of a star he is.
Early 2000s.
Early 2000s. He was still very much in the budding stages of his Hollywood career. So it took a big pair of bollocks on him to knock back the role. But he did it. And look, fair play to him, as you did say, Stephen. He's been on to have a really stellar career. He's done a whole wide array of different movies, the likes of Tag, I think it was. Great little comedy movie where he showcased his athleticism and also his comedic side of things as well. Very funny guy.
Messenger, he did that as well. It was a great film.
So he's done a wide array of different roles, and obviously he's more notable for his role in as Hawkeye in the Avengers and just the MCU. Would we have seen that happen if he'd taken this role in Hellboy? Perhaps not, perhaps we would have. It was all just meant to be the way it ended up, Stephen. It was like Chris Evans, potentially. I think we were speaking about this alt universe where we could have had a Fantastic Four movie and connecting with the X-Men with Fox. Sometimes things just aren't meant to be, and they work out for the best in the end. And I'm glad it paid off the way it did, because I love the guy as an actor. I love what his career's been like, and I just love Hawkeye, and I can't wait to see this guy perhaps going forward and doing new things in the MCU. But look, Stephen, that's going to round up this week's MBE Heroes. We've got nothing more to add. What did you make of the whole array of different topics? What are you excited for at Comic-Con this year? Do you think that Marvel will indeed announce Slate 4? We do. Or do you think they'll leave it to D23? You can comment below and let us know what your thoughts are on that. What do you make of Zoe Saldana? Should she be the villain or one of the villains in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3? What the hell do you make of this news about Jeremy Renner knocking back a role in Hellboy? Does it excite you? Would you have loved to have seen the Green Lantern perhaps interconnecting with Superman? If you've got anything to say about all those topics and more, comment below. As I did say, let us know what your thoughts were. Like the video if you've enjoyed it, subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying the content. You'll get more if you do, and we'll be back tomorrow with MBE News.